What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Got a couple of awesome duels for you guys to check out, including a rage-inducing duel for the ages. Let's see what we got here. Pendulums, and this looks like an Endymion build versus Crawlers. I would have to obviously favor like the Endymion deck heavily in this matchup because they can just make far better turn one boards. I still think Crawlers struggle to have like good turn one plays. It isn't even just because it's a flip deck. It's just like their cards are all so reactive. They don't really have a lot of proactive plays. Anyways, we'll see what happens. Maybe Crawlers can get a lucky break. He is going second, and the Pendulum player is going to make a pretty solid board. He's going to open with Electromite, pretty much the bread and butter of any Pendulum deck, except maybe like Abyss Actors now. He is going to Pendulum summon two, the Jackal and the Sloth. He will be able to get some counters on that Jackal by activating the Pendulum Scale again, and then he sets his Super Polymerization. He has another copy of Super Poly in hand. Technically, he can't use Super Poly without, I guess, giving up one of these guys unless his opponent gives him an extra monster zone because, yeah, his two link points are currently being, occupied by these two monsters, but these are two good monsters. You have Amorphous Sloth, who's 2250 and is basically a domain for your opponent. They cannot summon from the extra deck. And then you have your monster effect negation. I guess if he loses either one of these cards, Super Poly is basically the backup plan against decks like Orcus or whatnot. But we'll see if his opponent can counter this. So this is kind of difficult. He is going to activate the Crawler Field Spell, and then he activates Wormbait. The thing about Wormbait is it's usually a very strong card. However, it doesn't really do anything if your opponent says you can't special summon from the extra deck, because these tokens do not serve a purpose other than really to go into, the link plays for the Crawler deck. So he doesn't really get anything out of that, unfortunately. He is going to summon the Sorcerer or the Mighty Master, and basically just another negation card. He's making it even more difficult for his opponents. I believe he's going to lose every single monster this turn. Yeah, I think he's going to lose every card in battle. His Field Spell did try to activate. When one of your Crawler monsters is destroyed by battle, the Field Spell tries to destroy the monster that destroyed it. Unfortunately, yeah, Mighty Master is just going to negate that, so he loses that. He's going to lose every single monster that he has, and it's looking kind of bleak, almost like, I mean, this is like 99% likely that he is going to win this duel, but then the play happened. He does top deck the World Legacy Survivor. This is the one that lets you excavate and then add one of your World Legacy cards to your hand. He's going to activate it. It will be negated, but you just got baited, my friend. Look what he has said. He's got that Witch's Strike. You just triggered my trap card. Flips that over, clears every single thing. I didn't count that actually, but I'm pretty sure that was somewhere around like a plus 10. Getting a plus 10 out of a single trap card must be nice. He's going to flip over his Crawler Ranveer. That's the one that's basically like, it's like Warrior Returning Alive ×2. It does allow him to get another monster from his graveyard, which he can normal summon, make his Crawler Crawliarch. And I'm pretty sure he's going to win this duel now because these Crawler monsters do float. Like the Link monsters float they float into more monsters from the graveyard, and obviously like Crawler Spine. Attack with it. If it dies by your opponent's effect, you can just like float from the deck. So it's looking like he is going to be able to pull the comeback, but his opponent says, I got something up my sleeve, Cap. I might be able to do this. Maybe I can pull off the comeback. He is going to summon the Amorphous Sloth. This was a mistake here. I don't think this guy's familiar with Crawlers. He activates the Mighty Master's effect and torches his opponent's field, but come on, bro. That doesn't do anything against Crawlers. All these monsters do is float, float, float. All these guys are just going to float. He's going to fill his field up again, and he's filling it up with removal that is good against his opponent. His opponent just obviously scoops after that because he knows even if he can't target this card right here, even if he couldn't target this, he could just flip over Crawler Spine. That's going to kill the Sloth. He can flip over Axon. That's going to probably pop this Pendulum Scale, or I guess he could go after the Fields, but I'd go after the Pendulum Scale personally. And then eventually he could probably go for something like Borolo Dragon or Boral Sword Dragon and just get this card off of the field. But yeah, too much floatability. And when you end up losing like 10 cards to a Witch's Strike, I'm pretty sure that your mental is just absolutely destroyed at that point. I'm pretty sure he was just tilted at that point. Anyways, we got some Evil Eye action. It's going to be dueling against a very, I guess, weird build of heroes. Now he's playing Evil Eye Unchained, and this is an interesting take on Evil Eye. I still believe Evil Eye does have a lot of potential. You see people, I guess, traditionally play Evil Eye with like what's that archetype? True Draco, because it's kind of like a stand-in for Masterpiece, gives you a very good normal summon. The package is very small. The field spell searches Surziel, and then Surziel can basically get like the equip card, and it's a very small package, the Evil Eye package, and it's pretty good. It kind of, you know, makes it so that you can't be targeted and whatnot. But in this build, he kind of uses Surziel as a way of not only disrupting his opponent, but he also uses it to trigger his Unchained spells and traps. Remember, you have to blow up one of your cards, just like in True Draco, where you can blow up your True Draco spells and traps and then blow up your opponent's card. In this archetype, the Unchained archetype, when you blow up your spells and traps, you get monsters from your deck. So that's kind of cool. He's going to get Selene and Surziel. This is basic 101 for the Evil Eye archetype. His opponent's going to have a pretty clean play here. I'm not going to lie. He's going to go Stratos. That's going to get Ash Blossom. He will use Call by the Grave on that. He could have used Effect Veiler if he wanted to, but I guess he's like, I don't know if I'm willing to use 2 hand traps on a Stratos. I think that's the right call. Using 2 hand traps on a Stratos seems a little extreme in my opinion. Even if it was your opponent's normal summon, Nessie is going to be used, going to be discarded. He's going to go for Jackalope. He's also going to discard Jackalope. Then he drops the Dark Arm Daddy, which I saw that and I was like, oh, snap. Taking me back to 2008. I love Dark Arm Dragon. Of course, you got to pop that card. He will go for Nightmare Phoenix, and that is when he's going to use his Effect Veiler. So very, very smart for him to hold on to that Effect Veiler. His opponent really doesn't have any plays here, and this is where you're going to see Surziel activate its effect, and he's going to blow up his one of his Unchained spells and traps. That means he gets to summon from the deck, and this is kind of cool because he can take his opponent's Nightmare Phoenix and he can just link it away with his Unchained Soul of Disaster. This means he gets to go straight into a Link 3. That's pretty legitimate in my opinion. He's going to go ahead and for that Link 3. Get a couple of attacks on his opponents, and it looks like he's pretty much in commanding position. His opponent does have Orcus plays because why not, I guess. Again, any deck can be an Orcus deck. Galatea will be popped immediately the second that she hits the field. He is not trying to deal with that. Then he is just going to pass it back to his opponent. Once again, he has to blow up one of his cards, and that's where, you know, the Unchained cards are the ones generally you're going to target. He is going to activate his Unchained Call of the Haunted, essentially, just to get another monster or get a monster from his deck. I mean, you're going to lose the card anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and target. He does pop the Malicious at the same time. He is going to gain some, well, not gain life points, pay some life points, and it doesn't matter in the end. Even if he did pay a little bit of life points, because Topologic, Zeroboros, and then also the Surziel can just get the job done. Look at Surziel's attack, 4,100 attack. That is, I mean, this is basically it's almost game with just these 2 monsters on board. If he could have summoned, if this guy could have attacked, like, that would have been, yeah, let me see, let me do the math. Yeah, I think that would have been 8,500. My math's probably wrong, but I think that would have been around 8,500, somewhere around that. So that's pretty damn clean if I'm not gonna, or if I don't say so myself. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the short duels. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.